Hey y'all, it's Brady. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are brand new here, hello and welcome. We are a family of 4. It is myself, my husband, our 2.5-year-old, and our 6-year-old. And then, of course, if you hear her click-clacking around on the floor, that is our 70-pound wannabe lap dog. And so, yeah, get out of stuff. There you go. That is typical around here. So today I am filming for you my Monday meal prep inspiration video. So if you need to get that done, get your stuff out and cook and prep right along with me. Otherwise, I guess sit back and enjoy and get some inspiration on some stuff that you could prepare to make your week go a little easier. Now, even with us all being at home, it's still much easier in our house, at least, to use things, or much more likely that things will get eaten or used if like the produce and everything is already washed, already prepped and in the fridge. And then, you can just pull it right out and eat it whenever you want, or it's easier to cook with, that sort of thing. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. I'll flip you around and show you my list real quick here, and then we'll just jump right into it. All right, so let's start with my super obnoxious bowl is what I call it, but we're gonna make our double batch of Chex Mix with some Worcestershire sauce, the garlic powder, onion powder, and all of our ingredients here. Peanuts, the Gardetto rye chips, pretzel sticks, corn squares, and rice squares. You can also use the wheat squares, the wheat Chex, and then you're gonna need some butter. So I used about 1.5 sticks of butter here, and then I ended up having to, you'll see in a minute, use more butter. And I'm just putting that in the microwave to melt. That's where I disappeared to. But in the meantime, we're just going to mix up all of our ingredients. And this is why I say use my super obnoxious bowl, because I'm using an entire box of each of these rice squares. And that ranch seasoning is not for this. It is for another meal prep recipe today. But you can see here, I have got to remember, I want to say this is like an 8-quart bowl, maybe larger than that. I don't know. It's one of the big ginormous bowls from Sam's Club that's like their food service grade bowls. So if I can find that, I'll link that down below for you, or one similar. And then I added my peanuts and my pretzels. So I'm just going to get in here with my hands and gently mix these together hopefully without breaking too many of the cereal pieces. So you just want to mix these up, and then you'll get your butter, and I've got that melted here in my 4-cup measuring cup, and I'll add my Worcestershire and my spices to this mixture and then pour it over our bowl. And so I'm just finishing off a bottle of Worcestershire sauce here that I had and throwing that in the trash. And then here's our garlic powder, quite a bit. Again, with the no measuring, I'm sorry, y'all. If I can find an official Chex Mix recipe for you with seasoning amounts, I'll put that down below for you. But yeah. So here is me just mixing that up so that it's all good and combined. And then we'll bring this big obnoxious bowl back over here and pour this over. And then I've just got a pretty heavy duty, nice quality wooden spoon here, but really, let's get real. It's just a spoon, Brady, it doesn't matter. And pour that over there. Definitely gonna need more butter, so I'll get some of that melted here in a minute to add to it as well. But I'm just scooping this around and mixing it up. I'm sure you've made Chex Mix before, so it's nothing like I'm, not reinventing the wheel here. Yeah, so you just mix this around. You just want to be, pretty gentle so you don't break your cereal pieces. But otherwise, really straightforward. And you can see I've already added in some more butter here. So just mixing that up so that it is good and coated, so everything gets nice flavor. And when I melted more butter, I did add more seasonings and Worcestershire to that as well. So now that it is all mixed up, we're going to pour these onto these half sheet pans. These are also from Sam's Club. I use them a ton. Now, if you're concerned, these are clean. They're just stained. That is just part of it. You can actually take like a steel wool pad. It's a barkeeper's friend or something like that, and scrub these up and get those things off of there, but it's not going to affect our food. They have been washed. They're good and clean. So I'm dividing this between these two pans, and then I've got some left over. So I'm actually going to get out a smaller baking sheet and put the remainder of that on there as well. And you can see little people wanting my attention. So yeah, here's my other pan. Just going to finish putting those out there. Just spread them out. You want as even of just one layer and not a bunch stacked on top of each other as possible. Moving on, after I put that in the oven on 250, I am just getting out my stuff to start washing up my fruits and vegetables. So gonna move on and get these strawberries going. Some of them weren't great, but I'm doing about 2 pounds of strawberries. A few were bad, but just gonna put them here in my OXO salad spinner. This thing is phenomenal. We have had it since we got married, going on 7 years ago. And yeah, it has held up. I use it quite a bit, and I'm actually getting myself to use it more thanks to Jen Chapin. If you have not watched her videos, what rock have you been under? No. But yeah, she's great. So she uses hers all the time, and it kind of got me back in the habit of using mine too. So I'm going to put some lemon juice on here just to wash these up. And I'm not going to spin these dry in the salad spinner. I just prefer not to with, delicate berries. But I will definitely do that with salad, greens and things like that. So I'm going to add some lemon juice, and it is squirting all over the place. But put that in there, and then we will fill this up with some really cold water. And after those fill up with the cold water, just going to mix it around with the lemon juice and let those sit to the side and soak to kind of, wash those off and get started with our melons. So I have got a cantaloupe here and a personal size watermelon that I picked up on my Walmart grocery pickup order. And I'm just using my chef's knife here to pretty quickly shape this up. So if you or would like some tips on cutting up melons, I don't know that this is the most efficient way, but it's what works for me and what I've been doing for a long time, and what I do with most fruits and vegetables, that especially that are rounded like that, you're going to cut off each end to give you the space or to give you that stability of a flat surface on your cutting board. Because if you're trying to cut and peel and do all these things and it's like all wobbly all over the place, that is a recipe for getting yourself cut. So I'm just using a spoon here and scooping out the seeds of the cantaloupe, and then we'll get to cutting this up. But that's all I do. I know that they make, slicers for melons and all that, but I've just found it to be the easiest to cut those edges off so that they're flat, and then peel it like you would anything else. And so I am just going to cut these up into strips for this cantaloupe. And then you can see little people again are very excited for the cantaloupe and watermelon. And I have promised as soon as Mama gets these cut up, you can have some. So yeah, they were extremely excited to get some watermelon. So I am cutting up the watermelon and the cantaloupe here. Just rough chopping it. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just small enough pieces. I know some people like to cut these up into rather large pieces or leave them in the strips. Now the girls could certainly eat them if I left them in the strips like they are right here. But I just like to go ahead, put them in small enough pieces that they are bite-sized, and then I don't have to prepare anything else. They could literally get them a spoon and eat it out of the bowl for all I care. If you're concerned, no, I don't let them do that. but they could, and they would be appropriate sized. And so it just makes it that much more accessible to just be able to pull out and scoop it out with a spoon, put it on a plate with the rest of their lunch or as a snack or with breakfast or dinner, whichever way we want to do it, and have everything ready to go. So I'm just going to rinse off my cutting board here. It doesn't really matter. It's just another fruit juice, but that's the way I like to do it. So there's a look at the finished product, and that bowl was a little large, but it worked. And then I'm just going to move on to cutting up the watermelon the same exact way. I really, really, really like cutting up my melons this way. It's just super quick and easy. Like I said, this is sped up, but it really did not take me much time at all to do this. It's not that difficult, and which is why I like working with these smaller melons versus the big watermelons. So for the time being, they are still cheaper to buy them as the smaller ones, and so that is what I will do. So it's just what works for our family to make sure that A, it's easier, but B, that we're not wasting a lot of produce either. I don't like to waste food. Obviously, I don't think anyone loves to waste food, but you know what I mean. I try very diligently to waste as little food as possible, and not just during pandemic times, but normal times as well. And yes, Mama's eating some watermelon as she is slicing it up because it is that delicious. And I was really surprised. This watermelon was really, really good. And so was the cantaloupe. They were both very flavorful, which I was kind of surprised at since it's still early spring, but they were delicious. So that worked out perfectly. And then you want to be very careful if you're going to start slicing melons like this. I may not be the best one to take advice from because some people, and little hands stealing watermelon. But yeah, I just like to, get that half. I've got me a flat edge, slice a few horizontal slices, and then go both directions across and, up and down. Because now, words are hard. Now I'm forgetting the words. Whatever. Y'all know what I mean. Just to make sure that those are in small pieces again. And now we're going to make some homemade ranch dressing. So what you need is a ranch seasoning packet, or you could certainly make your own ranch mix. This is one of those, I think it's the Mainstays, like the Walmart brand, but it's just a regular mouth jar lid, but it is a plastic one, so you don't have to worry about rust. And I really like that for what if I'm just putting it in the fridge when I make sauces like this. And then it takes 1 cup of mayonnaise. You could also do, and I wish I had my wide mouth jars for this because it would definitely make this easier. So if you have a wide mouth canning jar, that's a great option here. 1 cup of mayonnaise. You could also use sour cream, or you could do half and half. That would be great as well. And then you randomly see there is a jar of pickles over there because there's a little bit of a secret ingredient going in. And then it also calls for, I believe, a full cup of milk. And you could use, whatever. So here are my pickles, and I am adding a little splash of pickle juice. That is my ingredient. It gives it a tang. It is delicious. I also add some more garlic powder and fresh ground black pepper. You could also use just already ground black pepper. That would be totally fine too. I just like to add a little extra kick to our ranch seasoning packet here. Throw that in too. Put the lid on the jar and shake it up. And you're going to want to shake it quite vigorously, but it's really easy, and you don't need a food processor or anything like that to make that work. Just shake, shake, shake. No problem at all. All right. So I've put the ranch in the fridge. I've got my strawberries here that I'm going to rinse those off after they have been soaking, and line this dish with a paper towel. This is one of those Pyrex dishes as well, and just get those sat in there. This paper towel will absorb any moisture. And so I'm going to dump out the lemon juice water, rinse those off, and I don't like to spin those dry just so that they don't get bruised, and then toss these into my container. And you'll see here that the container was a little full, but no big deal there. I just left the lid off and everyone, worked on those as they were sitting on the counter until we were able to put the lid on it and toss those in the fridge. Again, you could cut the tops off, all that good stuff, to make it to where you don't have to really do anything to eat those. But I find that they get soft and mushy a lot quicker if you cut the tops off. So I just make sure they're washed. And then I have got some hearts of romaine lettuce and several green bell peppers and a red bell pepper. So I want to go ahead and get this lettuce soaking. So I'm going to cut up both heads of romaine lettuce, toss those into the salad spinner, and let those be soaking in the lemon juice and water as well. And then that way we'll have salad mix ready to go. Okay, cut up this romaine head as well, and I am not doing anything fancy here. I am just slicing right across. And I did peel off one of the heads of romaine was completely bad in the 3-pack. I don't know what happened, if it got bruised or what. And then one of the other two here that I am cutting up had a bad leaf on it that was already wilty, so I just removed that and tossed it, and then cut the two that were still good. There they are. Gonna get some lemon juice on there and some ice cold water, and let that sit as well, just to get that good and washed off. Easy peasy. And then I'll show you, once this rinses up and settles, what my plan is for that. So you'll kind of see what I mean, that we are going to have salad mix ready to go, similarly to having a bag of salad. Actually, we are going to have a bag of salad. So, there you go. And then I'm going to move on to my green bell peppers here, cutting the tops off. You can see on that one, I got lucky, and hope you're going to see my garbage bag here. Ha ha. Now here is my trick. So all of my little scraps here go in one bag or a bowl, whatever. I just happen to have a bag out, and I'm going to pull out the seeds. You can just, if you cut off the top like that on a bell pepper, you can just pull it out with a handful. So that's super easy to do. If I had thought ahead of it, I would have cut the tops off of all of these and then went on ahead and pulled out the seeds in the center of each one, but I didn't think that far ahead. So I'm going to do it one by one, cutting these up, scooping them out. So I took the top, didn't want to waste that. If the stem does not pop out like it did for me in this one, which you'll see some of the other ones it did not, then you'll just want to cut around the edges there and just toss the stem, but then make sure to use that top. Don't throw that away. And I say that as I've got a whole bag of scraps here that I am throwing away. I would love to have a compost sometime soon, but we are in a neighborhood, so I've got to think of something that's not going to totally stink things up. So if you have a good compost idea, let me know, because I would love to not be throwing so many scraps away. And obviously if we had chickens or something, then I would give it to them, but we don't. So there we go. So I am just really, weird about having a lot of water on the cutting board as I'm cutting things up. So there's that top there where it did not pop out. So I just cleaned off that water with a paper towel, but you don't have to do that, obviously. And these peppers are already washed, if I did not say that. So there's that. I just cut out that stem, and I'm going to cut out the little bit there at the bottom, slice these up, and then dice them into little pieces. And these will be ready to go for eggs or throwing into salads or, anything really. Okay, so this is the last bit of these that I'm going to chop up and dice, or at least so I thought, but you know, here we go. So I'm going to show you the finished product. There you go, nice and pretty. And I am looking at my lid here. This is a 4-cup Pyrex bowl, so we have 4 cups of chopped green bell peppers. And then I'm also going to use another 4-cup dish and slice these up to have on hand for making a stir fry or fajita nachos, which is on the menu plan this week. So that is the plan here, and then you'll see very quickly that I completely forgot that I was doing strips and not dicing, so this red bell pepper gets diced here at the beginning. And finally here I am remembering that I want to slice these. So, no I'm not. No I'm not. Here I go again. It's going to hit me here in just a minute. I'm going to be like, really, Brady? Really? So, hopefully you don't make the same mistake I do. Although, I say mistake like it's really going to matter. I'll just throw them in there anyways. There it goes. It hit me. Yeah, I wanted slices, not dices. There you go. Okay, so again, see, this one didn't really want to pop out, but I was able to just kind of peel it away. Slice those up too to make your strips. You don't have to dice those either. You can do the strips still as well. But yeah, just rough chop here. So let me know, what are some things that you like to put bell peppers in? Let me know your ideas on recipes. Do you even like bell peppers? Do you keep them in rotation at all? Or, you know, what do you like to use them for? They are something that we are planning to grow in our garden this year. And so I'm just interested. So there you go, 4 cups of sliced peppers, well, mostly sliced. Gonna work on this English bell pepper. Good Lord, Brady. Gonna work on this English cucumber. And quite honestly, I cut all of my vegetables very similarly to the melons when I peel something like this, especially one that's more of an awkward shape that just gives you some stability. So I think I saw on the Food Network that trick years and years and years ago about making sure you have a flat edge. So I do that with the ends of the cucumbers, just cutting those off. But then I also, it just makes it easier for me to peel with a knife. I don't know. Some of you may really love your vegetable peelers, and you know, that's awesome. I personally despise them. I don't know why. It really doesn't make any sense because, you know, some would argue that that's what they're meant for and that's the smarter way to go. But I cannot stand them. I don't know why, but I've always done this. You'll see, not in today's video, but in other videos, when I peel potatoes, I peel with a knife. I can't. I don't know why. Now, I do have a vegetable peeler that I do keep. And years ago, it came with a set when we got married of like kitchen utensils. And I didn't think that I would use it. And I almost got rid of it, but I kept it thinking, you know, on occasion, maybe I would use it. And it is very much on occasion that I use it, but I do keep a vegetable peeler for actually shaving like strips of Parmesan cheese off of a block, or I do use it if I have whole carrots that I want to peel, but most of the time, I'll admit, I just wash my carrots and I don't peel them. Because most of the time, if I'm using whole carrots, just in my common everyday cooking, that's going to be something that I'm just putting those veggies down in the bottom to roast. And so you really don't have to take the skin off. It's no big deal. And on carrots, I find that as long as you wash them up and there's no real bad spots, you're okay. So you can see this head of celery, heart of celery, I don't know what you call that, was kind of puny already. So I don't know what happened with that, but it'll work out just fine. So I'm just cutting these into very thin strips after washing them up. And then I'm going to put this in this plastic container, which ended up being too large, but who cares? So I'm doing these little bitty sticks because my girls like to eat these, and so it's better for them if they're thinner. They prefer them that way. And whatever gets them to eat the vegetable, Mama will usually cut it that way. So they really like peanut butter and celery, or celery and ranch. And so you can see this definitely did not fill this up, but I'm just putting some cold water on here on top of these slices. And then I'm going to put the lid on and put it in the fridge. and the water will keep them fresh longer. And then I've got our two heads of romaine lettuce here that, remember, I washed up and soaked, so those have been rinsed off and drained, and now I am just putting them through the salad spinner. And once they are spun dry here in a moment, I will put them in this bag with the paper towel to keep us from having a lot of moisture in the bag. And then, the lettuce will last longer for salads and be ready to go. You can just pull it out like you would do any other bag of salad that you buy from the grocery store. So I don't like to do a ton of it at one time because it's not going to last forever. But it would last better than if you just put it sopping wet into a bowl and put it in your fridge. So every week or so, I like to cut up a few heads of lettuce and then stick it in the fridge like this. And I like to push out all the air that I can. And that just kind of keeps it not vacuum sealed, but it keeps a lot of the air and moisture out. And so whenever I pull some out for a salad or to put on something, I be sure to squeeze out the air again. Now I am just going to start making the marinade here. I've got 2 bags of some frozen chicken breast. I think this was 5 in total that I had pulled out of the freezer, and they have been defrosting in the fridge. So I'm just gonna dump them in this bag and get them marinating for our grilled chicken. And then I use this chicken throughout the week, but primarily I also made, again, the Chewy's at home copycat recipes, and so this was part of that, and I wanted to get this prepped up for that meal. And then we had plenty left over for the week to have for salads and easy lunches. So I am using some minced garlic, the one from Sam's. That is like $4.28 for that ginormous jug of minced garlic, so I like keeping that on hand. And then I've got some extra virgin olive oil. This is just the Aldi brand, and I like that it's in a glass bottle. And then some Worcestershire sauce. And I'm sorry, y'all, I don't measure. I will do my best to list the ingredients down below for you. Hopefully I remember to do that. And then here's that minced garlic, the Members Mark brand from Sam's. And, like a tablespoon-ish and a half. And then I'm going to add some minced garlic. Or not minced garlic, minced onion, some cumin powder. And these are just spices from Aldi, y'all. It does not have to be expensive and fancy. And then some chili powder. And you don't want to put a ton of chili powder in here, but just enough, And then you're going to seal it up after you put the limes in there. So I've got 2 limes, and I'm going to rub them around on the counter to kind of loosen up the juices. And I really should get a lime or lemon juicer, but I don't. So if you think those are worth it, you'll have to let me know down below. I'm just going to get this squished up in here. Just going to use my knife because even with rolling it on the counter, it didn't really do a great job. And then I'll throw this down in the bag with it. So I'm just going to repeat the same thing for each of those 4 halves and toss them in there. And then this sat in the fridge for probably 4 hours marinating, and so as it continued to thaw, the chicken marinated, which is something that I really like to do. Something I also really like to do is when I bring home the bulk packages of chicken breast, I will break those down, and if I have things on hand to marinate it, I will go ahead and do that. So like a jar or like half a bottle of zesty Italian dressing and some Worcestershire sauce and a little garlic thrown in a bag makes a great marinade for chicken or steak or whatever. So I just like to do that, zhuzh it around, put it on a plate here, and then I'm going to toss that in the fridge. But I'll do that, label them, and put them in the freezer when I prep things in advance like that. Okay, fun stuff. We're going to make Oreo milkshakes. So I was doing all my meal prep, and the girls really wanted some milkshakes, and so I decided, you know what, I'll be the fun mom today and make some milkshakes. So just going to put in several Oreo cookies. This is just one of the Ninja blenders. Just not a bullet, but I don't know what you call it. I don't know. I got this years ago from Sam's Club. Now I'm trying to remember what they actually call it, but it is by Ninja. I'm sure they still sell them, even though I've had it for about 13 years-ish. Somewhere around in there. I've had it a really long time. But I'm sure they still sell them or something like this. So I'm going to pulse the cookies in there first, And then y'all know how to make milkshakes. Add the ice cream, add the milk, mix it up and pour it. Yum, yum. Pour these in there. And I'm also going to make this an extra fun treat, adding a few M&Ms. And the girls really thought this was super fun. This was super easy. I already had, all the ingredients. It took me, a whopping 5 minutes and made them oh so happy. So there's that. Mama's going to pour her the rest of that in there in a little glass. And I'm going to have a milkshake as well. There we go. Fun for the day. So I washed out that blender, and now we're going to put it to use again to make our creamy jalapeno ranch dip. And this is my copycat recipe for that. I've kind of looked at a bunch of different recipes for this that were on Pinterest, and then just kind of made my own. So I've got minced garlic, cilantro, lime juice, ranch seasoning mix, sour cream, pickled jalapenos, and some diced green chilies, and I've also got some milk. You could use buttermilk. Most of the recipes that I've found use buttermilk for this stuff, but buttermilk is just not something that I tend to keep on hand, and so I find it works just fine with regular milk. So I'm putting just a touch over a 1/4 cup of the pickled jalapenos slices in there, and then I'm going to put a couple of tablespoons of minced garlic in there. And I like to put all my solid ingredients like this in here just to keep everything from being too chunky when you blend it with the sour cream and the milk. So there goes my cilantro and then my ranch seasoning mix. And we will blend, we're going to add my lime juice as well, and then we will blend this up and add our sour cream and our milk. and there is a look at our finished product. Going in the fridge to chill for a few hours. This works for our Chewy's Copycat dinner, and then also just to have on hand for the week because we really, really enjoy that. Okay, and so part of the Chex Mix is out of the oven. I've got this in my bowl here, and so I'm gonna add the Gardettos, rye chips because they were already seasoned. Gonna toss them in this bowl. And then we've got just a little bit more Chex Mix that I pulled out of the oven after this that is cooling. And so I'll mix that all up at once at the end. I do like to use my hands, of course, very clean hands, to mix this up because I find that the wood spoon kind of crunches it up too much with your cereal. So just be gentle whichever way that you choose to do that. And then finally, here's a look at our grilled chicken. And this, I believe, is the last clip I got of it cooking everything.
So just throwing that chicken here at the end for you. And we have worked through a little bit of the fruit and veggies. But I wanted to share with you everything that I did get done. So I did not get to the ground beef or the muffins, but pretty much everything else got done. So let me show you that. So I've diced 4 cups of peppers. We have about 3.5 cups of sliced bell peppers for dinners. We've got a cantaloupe, a watermelon. That was just one of those personal watermelons, if you remember. An English cucumber, which again, you can tell we've definitely gotten into those. Celery, what was good of that bunch of celery. I don't know why it wasn't very good this time, but I just have it stored in some water. 2 pounds worth of strawberries. This is about 1 pound left. There were a couple of bad ones, and then we've eaten quite a bit of them. A massive double batch of Chex Mix, and then, which I don't remember how large this container is. I want to say it's like 20 cups, maybe. I think so. And then this was about half full, but the girls and all of us have been munching on it, so that's about gone. Homemade ranch dressing, the creamy jalapeno dip, a couple of hearts of romaine lettuce washed and chopped up, and then the grilled marinated chicken. So that's everything that I did get done in this meal prep. Again, it's not everything that was on the list, but that's kind of how life goes. There's another video coming out here for you shortly in the next couple of days that you will see why it also that everything did not get done, because I kind of had another project going on at the same time. So this is everything. Took me, for this part, probably took me 2 or 3 hours. Time I marinated, grilled the chicken, chopped everything, you know, cleaned out the fridge, all that good stuff. And then of course, you know, this Chex Mix took pretty much the whole time. So that's everything that's going to set us up really well for this week. We've already been munching on it. And it's making it much more accessible. So thank y'all so much for joining me. Let me know down below if there's any recipes you'd like to see me try or any video suggestions that you have. I look forward to talking to you in the comments. If you would like to check out some other videos, they are popping up here for you now. And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye.